Hello everybody, in this video I have some more Christmas card making ideas to share with you. Last time I did sort of modern vibe silvery blue cards, and this time I'm going with traditional colours because I really do like traditional Christmas colours. I'm using the first edition Almost Christmas paper pad. Now, full disclosure, I was sent this paper pad for free for sharing it, but I had already done that. This video is not part of that, but I had it, so I might as well use it. So the first bunch of cards I'm going to make are all 6x6, and they're all kind of similar. So I'm just going to talk through the first one and then just do music over the next couple, because I kind of do the same thing just with slightly different colours and different styles and stuff. So for this one, I have just cut a piece of card to 5.5 by 5.5. I've cut a matte piece to 6x6 and then gutted out the centre of that 6x6 piece so I can use the scrap for something else. You do want to check sometimes if you've bought 6x6 card blanks, check the size of them, because sometimes they're not true 6x6. Some of mine are, the ones I use in this video are, but some of my white ones are more like 5 3/4, so it's always worth checking. Anyway, side note there. I have die cut some circles, and also, I don't really know what you call that shape, just at the top left there, kind of like an ornate label, I suppose you could call it, and I'm going to use those as the centerpiece in each one of these cards. I have cut some foam. You saw I traced around my circle, but then I just kind of cut inside that because I want the foam to be much smaller than the thing I'm sticking on top of it. I did 2 layers of that, then sticking my cutout or die cut circle on top of that. And then I'm going to bring in this Simply Creative chunky tinsel yarn, and I'm just going to wrap that around the circle, adding little bits of hot glue here and there to stick it down, so it's don't have to worry about sticking down every little bit of it. Just add a little bit of glue here and there so it all stays in place. Embellishments I'm going to use in this video are a mix of from Hobbycraft, from the works, and then lots of Simply Creative ones, which I either received in that recent package of stuff from Trimcraft/Craft Label, or it's stuff that I received years ago when I was on their design team, or even bought myself. So it's all just a mix of things. Some are older than others. Like these little bits I'm playing with here, like the little holly pieces, those are from Hobbycraft this year, but it is a mix of stuff just collected from my Christmas stash. Anyways, I am going to stick a load of those little gold and red holly pieces around where the tinsel is, basically making a wreath shape. That tinsel it really adds such a lovely dimension. It's sparkly, it's pretty, but it's also green, so it also kind of looks like Christmassy foliage as well. Here I'm just cutting out these little vellum bells. I thought they would go on this card, but I ended up using them on another card, so I left the fussy cutting in just so you can see where I got that from. That vellum Christmas pad was from the works. Finishing off with a Merry Christmas sentiment from my stash, a couple of those little holly pieces, and that's it. And then I'm just going to do that same sort of thing over and over with a mix of embellishments, all different mix of things. This one is another one with really traditional colours. There's going to be another one which is like traditional but also slightly modern at the same time. Just, yes, as I said, total mix of things. While I remember, I do have a voucher discount code for Craft Label that sell like the first edition bits and the Simply Creative bits. It's not an affiliate link. I don't get any commission or anything. It's just a 15% off code that you can use until the 31st of December. So I'll put that in the description box if you are interested. But as I said, it's not an affiliate thing. But anyway, I am going to carry on making this next batch of cards, leave you with some music playing, and then I'll be back in a few minutes or so to show you the next kind of card I'm going to make. I am back. So after making all of those, I had a load of scraps, and I always like to do something with my scraps, figure out something to do with them. So I'm actually going to do something that I've done quite a few times before. I first did it in a Christmas video maybe 3 years ago, something like that. So I'm just going to start off with these scraps, cutting out some very rough squares and rectangles of all different shapes and sizes. And once I've got a load of those, I'm not using the entire pile of scraps. I could have done, but that would take forever. I then take a ribbon, Christmassy ribbon. It doesn't have to be Christmassy ribbon. If you just have like plain red, green, gold, silver, something, that would work too. And I just wrap a ribbon around each little square or rectangle like so, like crossing it as if it was ribbon wrapped around a present. And then I do that on every single one of those little scraps, trying to alternate between the ribbon just so I have a nice selection of different things to use. Most of this ribbon from my stash of Dovecraft things after a few years of being on the Trimcraft design team. Some is stuff I just picked up from the range last year. Now I am using red line tape to attach my ribbon to each piece, but you can use any adhesive you prefer to use, tacky glue, whatever, glue gun is possible. The only thing I keep in mind is I'm going to take each individual one of those little squares or rectangles and run them through my sewing machine all around the edges. And if you use something like glue gun, you don't really want your sewing machine to go through that big, you know, chunky bits of dried hot glue. So just something to keep in mind if you do want to do the stitching stage. Obviously it's not necessary. I like it because I think it gives a really just extra texture, a little extra something. I don't know, I just like it a lot. So here they are after I've run them all through the sewing machine. I probably should have shown you a little bit of a close-up of what they look like, but hopefully you'll see towards the end when I show each individual card. And I'm going to show you two different ways I'm going to play with these. So for this first one, I'm having like this big stack of 5 presents, doing landscape style on a 5x7 card blank. And then I'm going to figure out each different ribbon I have used. So I've got like the holly one, the 25th of December, the Noel one. Take each one of those and then sew a mini bow that matches every ribbon I've got on the card. I have talked about how to sew mini bows before. I did it in the previous Christmas card video, probably didn't explain it that well. I've done it in other videos, so I'm not going to talk about it here. You can always just like do a YouTube search for how to sew a mini bow or something and find someone who is way better at explaining things than I am. But basically all I'm doing is sewing one, as I said, in each different ribbon colour that I have on the card, and then I'm just going to have the matching ribbon on top of each individual present. So once all the bows, once all the bows are done, I'm just going to add each present with a hot glue gun, kind of holding them in place where I want the other ones to be, obviously starting with the one that's going to be underneath the rest of them, making sure there's no gaps between the presents, that it looks like a nice complete pile, and then again with the hot glue gun attach each individual bow. Now I don't do it on video, but later on I did go back and add just a little gem, tiny little gold gem to the center of each bow because it just looked incomplete without that little gem. So I don't think it will be at the end when I kind of show each individual card on video, but it will be at the end when I show the pictures. So yeah, just to say I did go back and do that. I did decide that I needed, or wanted at least, a sentiment on this card. So I had embossed a Merry Christmas wooden piece earlier in the video, so I had a spare one of those that I decided to use. Slightly annoyingly, the AS had fallen off, so I had to be very careful, perform little embellishment surgery with the glue gun, but there it is. But I also decided to add a couple of Nuvo drops just because I don't know when to stop. I'm not very good at keeping things minimalist, and I just love using my autumn red Nuvo drops at Christmas because it's just, I love the colour so much and it's so Christmassy and gorgeous, so any excuse to use it I do. So here's a slightly simpler one. I'm just going to have 3 presents, again stacked up one on top of the other, another 5x7 card blank here, just having it in portrait style instead of landscape, and instead of having an individual matching bow for each present, I am just going to take some bigger, wider ribbon, and this is obviously satin, so it's really, really shiny, and I'm going to sew a much bigger bow and then have that on the top of the stack of presents, so it's like a real centerpiece, focal point for the whole card. There's me aboard the struggle bus trying to pick up my needle. I was having one of those days, you know, when you're all thumbs and your hands are just like not doing what they're supposed to. It was one of those days, not the best day to be doing a load of sewing, But there we go. So yeah, that's what I am going to do with this card. Again, I will put a gem in the center of the bow because I just think it gives a nice finishing effect to the whole thing. And I added some Nuvo drops as well. I can't remember on this card what colour I used, but throughout I'm going to use either autumn red. I have used, where's my list? Ivory seashell, the gold Nuvo drops, and on another card that I don't think is filmed, but you will see at the end, I use the vintage navy drops, which added a really nice vintagey tone to the card as well. But yes, there we go. I am nearly finished now, and I'm just finishing off with those deliciously gorgeous autumn red Nuvo drops, and then I'm going to show you each individual card that I have made. I think my favourite one is either the next one. I'm going to show you this one. I really love the colours on this one, or the reds, just very traditional Christmassy. I really love it. I also really, really like this one with the white, like it's traditional, but also a bit modern at the same time. I really like that one. This one I did with a slightly different shape. I don't know if I'm as fond of it, but it's something a bit different. And then this one with the really big pile of presents, I think is another one of my favourites. As I said, I added a little gem to each centre of one of the bows on there. You saw me do this one, and then a couple of different ones I did off camera. This one with more bluey elements. I noticed I had a couple of scraps that were more that colour tone, so I thought let's do one of those. That's the one with the navy drops, vintage drops on there, and then I did a little one on craft as well, a little A6 craft one, just slightly different from the others. And there we go, I am finished. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which card was your favourite, or if you're going to make anything similar. How is your Christmas card making going? We should all feel it finished by now. It's already December, but I'm late every year. It always happens. Anyways, I'm going to go. Thank you so much again. Links and everything I've discussed in the description box. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me down in the comments. I am going to go. Thank you again. Bye-bye.